I'm sitting here for another episode of Results by Riles, sitting here with Andrew Lewis, client of mine. We've lost, I think, so far 20 pounds, 5 inches off the waist, build a little bit of muscle there. So we'll start off, tell kind of everyone just a little bit about who you are, kind of what you do, and kind of like how we kind of first met each other.
Yeah. So happy to be here first. Thanks for having me.
Of course.
Like Riley said, I'm Andrew. I work in higher education. I've been working in higher education my entire life, 20 years. I'm coming up to 20 years since I've graduated college, which is kind of crazy. But I work at West Liberty. I'm the executive director of academic engagement and learning services, which is just a really long title, but I help make students make sure that they are successful in college. And you know how we met, honestly, was through LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And you sent me a message, and to be honest, I'm like, what is this? You know, because I get a bunch of LinkedIn messages, like from professional stuff, and I'm like, I don't know. And then I don't know. It was just like part of me was like, what's stopping me? You know what I mean? Like, what's stopping me from responding? What's stopping me from like seeing what this is? So I did. And jumped in and kind of just went all in, and that's kind of where we're at now.
Cool.
Kind of just like knowing, and then I saw you were a West Liberty student, which even made it even better because I knew that you had good education. And I knew that you could, get me something that I probably needed.
Yeah, for sure. And I guess when it comes to like fitness, like what for you? Because I know for me, when I originally had lost weight, like a little bit over a year ago, for me it was a certain moment. I was looking in the mirror. I was on vacation. I was like, I need to make a change. And I guess maybe some of the gears were turning before we had first chatted. Like I definitely want to like get more into fitness, make a change in my fitness. I guess for you maybe, was there like a certain moment or like kind of what for you was like when you were starting to decide like I want to make a change when it comes to like fitness and health?
Yeah. So I think it's always been in the back of my mind that I need to do better health-wise, fitness-wise, eating, all that kind of stuff. I grew up as a runner, so I ran from the time I was 12 until I graduated college. So like that's a long time, and I dedicated a lot of time to that. I was a pretty decent runner. I enjoyed it. There's always that, like any athlete, you want to get back into that like prime shape. You want to get back into those experiences that you were having when you felt comfortable, and then just life happens, and you get to a point where you're like, it's easier to sit around and not do anything than it is to like get up and actually be productive. And then, I'm 42, so I'm getting older, and you get to a point where your health really has to come into play. I'm on cholesterol medication, I have high blood pressure, anxiety medication, heartburn medication, like all those kind of things that people are starting to question, some of the medications and the amount of medications and all those kind of things. So part of it was my health. I wanted to do a little bit better. I knew the things that I was eating wasn't good. Yeah. And I had tried different things before that just didn't work, or that didn't stick, or something wasn't clicking. So I would say it really wasn't like a moment, but it was just a collection of things that led up to a point where I had to make the realization that I need to worry about my cholesterol, my blood pressure, those kind of things. Enough times that the doctor tells you that you need to, monitor your blood pressure because it is, high, and you've got risks to that and things like that. So really it was just a collection of things that led up to the realization of it.
So for you, because I always say a lot of times too, it's like there's the aesthetic portion of fitness, there's like looking great, feeling great, but there's also like the actual like longevity side.
Yeah. I mean, like everyone wants to look better, of course. I think I look decent for a 42-year-old.
Great, looking great.
I'm looking better. I'm looking better now. Yeah. Looking better now. And I think everyone wants to look better, but I was like, whatever, if I don't have a six-pack, I've got one in the fridge, that kind of joke or whatever. But, it was really that health pushing me, and just trying to keep, living healthier, longer, feeling better in clothes, I think was a good thing. Having a desk job, you don't necessarily get up a lot or things like that, but I just, and I was feeling uncomfortable in some of the clothes that I was wearing, or how it felt on me, or then how I looked. So, that was kind of the other point of health and, feeling comfortable and the ability to do things.
Yeah, yeah, I know for me, like when I put on weight, like confidence and like clothes fitting and like, because I was always like, an athlete too, I was football, everything, and then going to play in college, and then you start to feel the clothes get tighter, you're like, oh shit, like,
yeah,
like for you, and I know it just killed my confidence, like was that kind of for you, like, for like a little bit more of the hardest part for you? Obviously, like the health side, being at the doctor, like I need to take this serious health-wise, but also, the confidence-wise, was that like kind of impact?
Yeah, and I think you do, and I think for me, I work on a college campus, so there's 18 to 20, 23-year-olds, who are all in great shape and things like that, and you see that consistently, and then, you really want to, not fit in necessarily, but you also want to look a certain part. You hate to say it, but society has these views of people, how they need to look and things like that, and you say you don't want to get into that, but then you always kind of fall into that. But yeah, I think confidence was a part of it. I think also I like to be a confident person, just because I think your confidence and how you exude yourself can really change energy and a whole bunch of different stuff. So like being comfortable and being confident was another kind of factor that needed to kind of come into play.
Totally. And I guess for us too, like obviously we have these moments like, change needs to happen, but obviously sometimes like change is scary, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. What for you, because obviously like you said, you never really had like a, one-on-one personal trainer or coach, like what were maybe some concerns you had before signing up when it comes to actually like getting help with this sort of thing?
I don't even know if I had really any concerns.
Yeah.
I felt kind of confident and comfortable. And honestly, if it wasn't like I said, like if you wouldn't have messaged me, I never would have sought out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I never would have gone and done anything. I've done like Planet Fitness, you go and try this. I've done like some group fitness classes, things like that. But it just wasn't what was working at the time. So, there wasn't anything I think that I was hesitant on. I just knew that I wasn't capable of doing what I needed to do. I knew that I wasn't capable, I was looking at apps and like downloading things and that kind of stuff, but that looked to be honest, like more work than I wanted to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like part of it was also like, I'm busy.
Yeah.
I don't have time to maybe research all the things that I had to do, make sure that I'm falling in line with things. So, there was just kind of like a fall of things that just kind of went into a way.
Yeah, and I guess like, after chatting with me a little bit and you did decide to sign up, like I guess what for me and kind of what I do made you feel like this was something that you wanted to go ahead and take action on and sign up and do? Yeah,
so I think a lot of it was just your presence, your attitude towards what you were doing, and your passion and drive. Honestly, I think you were seeking some clients who were of a certain age, you know what I mean, and specifically men, so I felt that you knew your target audience or the audience that you wanted to target, and through our call, you made me feel comfortable, which I think is important. I felt comfortable enough to be able to talk to you about things or say concerns or anything like that, but really I think your attitude and just your confidence in your abilities, and to say that like I guarantee that you're going to lose this weight, I guarantee that you're going to get to this point, then it's just like in business, it's a contract. You know what I mean? Like it's what we're going to do. You have a job to do now. I expect results from a job. You know what I mean? Same as you expect things from your clients. So I knew that it was something that I could trust in. And the other side, as an educator, knew that this was new for you. Like it was up and coming. And part of me was like, I want to give, you an opportunity, essentially, to kind of help start your business. And I think part of that also drove me to kind of jump on board.
I appreciate it. We've been pretty successful. And what would, I guess, you say your experience has been like so far having me as a coach, I guess?
Yeah, honestly, it's been 5-star. Every time we have my check-ins, I say it's 5-star, and I truly believe that. You provide us with the tools that we need. I didn't have to go out and find a specific workout, what day I need to do arms and legs and things like that. So like you made it easy for us to have an app, have access to videos, have access to you inside your head, and your expertise for you and what you've done for yourself. So those kind of things are what really have been that 5-star experience. You check in with us frequently, you make sure that if there's anything that we need, you provide it for us. If there's a question that we have, I feel comfortable asking you or texting you or messaging you or anything like that. So yeah, that's I think that's why it's been 5-star, and you've been able to also get results. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of it is just like recognizing certain things, and then now I see myself kind of encouraging other people to do the same things that you encourage your clients to do, like just think about like parking a little farther away. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. So I'm like telling my friends, hey, let's park at the end of the parking lot rather than right up close. So things like that kind of transition into the lifestyle rather than just going through a 12-month or 12-week experience. It's a 12-week experience to provide the tools to change your lifestyle.
Absolutely, and I always say like there's double aspects. There's results we're going to get with fitness, right? We lose the weight, we drop the waistline, we have that, but there's also like, I'm living in a way that's like I've actually made changes outside of fitness as well. So I want to definitely chat about fitness results, and then I want to definitely chat about like lifestyle. So like walk me kind of through, because we obviously chatted about we've lost about 20 pounds, we've taken 5 inches off the waistline. What are maybe some other areas that we've definitely like you've seen improvement physically, mentally, just as a result of losing weight and having a program?
Yeah, so for one is obviously the clothes are fitting better. I feel more confident and comfortable in what I'm wearing, or getting in front of people. You know what I mean? Like again, I get in front of students, so there's that confidence thing. You never know, students, they laugh a lot. So you never know if they're laughing at you or who you're laughing at. But those kind of things. The other thing is just like my mentality of that I'm capable of doing more than I've done before. Like rather than, trying to think of like a good example, like rather than say I don't want to go downstairs to get something out of the dryer because it's 9 o'clock at night and I don't want to do it, rather than like what's stopping me from going, you know what I mean? Like I'm capable of doing that. It's maybe 10 steps, but it's still 10 additional steps to get into my goal. So those kind of things, the mentality, I think eating, being able to track my calories, my proteins, and I think that goes a long way because you're only looking at proteins and calories. You're not looking at a ton of like stuff, and you work those things in there so that you can eat things or have a drink or anything like that throughout the program. So I think my mentality, my outlook on things has changed. The way I feel and clothes, things like that have also changed. Recent doctor's visit said my cholesterol is probably looking good. My blood pressure is down. It's been a lot better than it has been in months, years. So those kind of things I see changing. And I think it goes along with that, like I said, like that lifestyle. I want to make the change because I know that I'm going to get results.
Absolutely. And how, like, I guess for you, having these changes in mentality and fitness and just overall health, like, how is this for you? Like, what are some other areas in your life that you feel like it's going to bleed into more so than necessarily just like...
That's a good one. I think I see myself trying to kind of push, I don't want to say like lifestyle, but like healthier eating habits, healthier habits to my friends and family. I'm with my husband a lot, my friends, and I feel like sometimes they could, learn a little bit or do things like that. So I think those kind of things will kind of go into play. But really, I think it'll just be the longevity of it. I feel a lot more comfortable going to the gym, to where I didn't before. And, I know you've talked about it and you've told us that, like, it's part of my routine now. I schedule it. I'm a schedule person. I keep my calendar. I put my workout time on there. So, I look at it and I know that I can't do X, Y, or Z, or, even going out to dinner last night and getting a haircut and not getting home till like 8:30. I just kept you in the back of my head saying, you know, you got to keep those steps and you got to get it.
Yeah.
What's stopping you from not going?
Yes.
You know what I mean? So like really, it was dark, but like I can still go out and walk for an hour, you know, or get my steps in. You know, that was the other thing, is just kind of like transitioning those into just into your life to be able now it's just like routine.
Absolutely. And I always say too, because when it comes part of your routine, like losing the weight's great just for the way that your energy feels and the way that you feel, but when that's part of your lifestyle, you get those boosts throughout the day. You're moving, you're eating healthy. Like I feel, as I say, it's just an upward spiral, right? Because you have more energy, you feel better, you're more. I feel like it just all comes together. It's just like an upward snowball.
Yeah,
you know.
And I think you start thinking more. And I think early on you talked about like one of our group calls was talking about fuel for your body, and what you put in is the fuel for your body.
Yeah.
So like you really start to consciously think about those things as you're going through your day, or as you're like yesterday or 2 days ago, I was at Walmart and they had new Oreos with Reese's or peanut butter, and I'm like, oh my God, that'd be so good. And then I look at it and I'm like, yeah, it would be good, but like 2 of them is 150 calories or something like that. And I'm like, would that satisfy me enough to the craving?
Yeah.
Or, you know, looking at like a Halo Top ice cream with about the same amount of calories, and you're getting more and you're satisfying that craving.
Yeah, and it's just the little things.
Yeah.
It's probably like, it's so many things. It's not, there's never going to be the magic hack. There's not the magic hack. It's just a bunch of little things that you can take with you, and they just turn to habits, right? It's like that one habit of when I go to the grocery store, maybe you know, 4 months ago would have been like, oh yeah, I'm getting it. You know what I mean?
I would have.
Exactly.
100%. And you know, like I said, I've done like some group fitness classes, but that was only one section of what I needed to change. You know, like still if I was going to the gym maybe, or doing some high intensity interval training, but not looking at what I was eating, I was defeating the purpose. You know what I mean? Like they're canceling each other out. It's not doing anything good for me. So with you and your program and what you've provided, you give us everything that's needed to make that full body, that full mind, that full change, and that lifestyle change.
100%. And what for you has been like your favorite part of the program so far?
I think honestly, like going to the gym and kind of going out of my comfort zone, and just getting back into, you know what I mean? Like I want to get back into running, even, you know, your joints hurt more and all those kind of things, and you have to go to the foot doctor, all this kind of stuff. But like I want to get into running more because it takes me back to how I felt, what do I remember, you know, things like that, and kind of just keep going with that. But yeah.
And when we talked a little bit like feeling different, like how would you say you feel 4 or 5 months ago before we started versus like now?
Sluggish, low energy, not comfortable, and you know what I mean. Like I was just like uncomfortable in what, you know. I still, you know, like we've talked, I still have weight that I need to lose. I feel like for me, I want to get to a, you know, more weight gone and maybe lean up or whatever. But like just that. You felt sluggish, you just like felt full, or you felt bloated, or things like that, to where now it's just like I don't need to hold my stomach in all the time. You know, it's not as big as it used to be or whatever, and I don't feel as sluggish because I'm not eating horrible things at 10 o'clock at night. You know, not like drinking a ton of beer, you know, those kind of things. Cutting out some of those unnecessary carbs makes you really feel just like, not cleansed, but like just
better. You feel better.
You just feel better.
And just overall, again, not having as much weight on you, you have less weight to carry around, so you're going to have more energy.
Yeah.
The food's different, it's going to fuel your body different. You're going to, like physiologically, you're going to have more energy because you're less fatigued from the weight, but you have more energy with less weight, and you're going to sleep better, all of that.
Yeah, and it's been nice to be able to like, again, like start in the summer, you know, and see the progress, and like go to the beach tomorrow and feel comfortable. Yes. Feel a little bit more comfortable being out there with my shirt off or whatever. But you know, it goes a long way.
100%. And what would you say? Like, how does it, I guess, feel for you knowing that going from where you were, like you said, sluggish, not necessarily feeling the best, to now, you know, having more energy, feeling good, going to go to the beach tomorrow or this week and feel great? Like, how does it feel knowing that's something that doesn't have to end after working with us, you know?
I think that's probably the most exciting thing, that it's not going to end. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? That like it really will continue. I'm excited to go to the beach to like walk and like do things. You know what I mean? Not just like lay around, which is fine if you do that at the beach. It's not for me. And get up and do things, and you know, and feel comfortable, and not have to, you know, just be like, you know. And I think that's the thing. You just like eat poorly and all that kind of stuff. It just takes the energy out, and you just don't want to, you know, do more, and then it just kind of all can explode.
Yeah, and now we're going to have a routine and a system that's not just going to work, you know, throughout the coaching program, but it's going to be something you're going to take with you after we're done forever, right?
Yeah, and I think that's the thing, is like you've instilled in us all these kind of like lessons, life tips, and little things that we are able to incorporate. And I think that's the nice thing about your program, is it is able to incorporate it into your lifestyle. You know what I mean? I have chosen to do a full hour of like walking to help get my steps in, but other people have just intentionally, while they're at work, maybe get a standing desk, have a walking pad. They've incorporated those kind of things into their everyday, and then you're consciously thinking a little bit more, you know, setting smaller goals. Like if by the time I leave my office, I want to be like 6,000 steps, you know, if I go to the bathroom upstairs or get up and walk around somewhere, you know, it's just like being able to easily integrate it into your daily kind of habits.
Completely. And I know we had said originally a big reason for you is you didn't want to have to do the work of figuring out how to do all that yourself.
Yeah, I didn't. You know what I mean? Like it's not that I wasn't interested, you know, but it wasn't my forte. It wasn't anything that I knew. You know what I mean? Like I couldn't tell you what weight is going to enhance what muscle. You know what I mean? And I didn't want to spend the time as a full-time working adult with a social life, didn't want to take time to research and then download an app and find out that you have to pay additional money for this or that, and then download another app for food and things like that. I wanted something that was going to be less work. In the planning part, in the preparation, more work to, you know, actually do the things, but someone else was really taking care, and someone with the expertise and the knowledge and the results to kind of tell me, you know, what to do to get the same results.
And how has it been to be able to have all that knowledge taken, not just taken and given to you, but actually applied into the life that you have right now, and to make it something that works inside of your day-to-day life, customized to you?
And I think that's probably the most important thing about it, is that it is customized and it's set to my life and it's put in there, and I feel that it is just, now it's just part of the routine, part of the daily thing. I look at calories more. I look at, you know, teaspoon, tablespoon, looking at how that kind of goes into, you know, just a little bit of everything. And like you said, I think it just integrated into, as a working professional, I'm able to have that balance of still working, still having my social time, still going out to eat, you know. And I think, you know, like you said, you give us these tools and these tips. Again, you provide us with a cravings guide, or you provide us with a dining out guide, things like that, to where you can go back to and look and kind of remember, you know, hey, I can go to Wendy's and get a grilled chicken wrap. I can go to Subway and get, you know, X, Y, or Z. And I think if you look hard enough on any menu, you can always find something.
Always.
And I think the other thing is that you can adjust things after we have conversations. You know, and I think that's the other part of the program that is really enjoyable. You know, we talk and I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna drink this weekend or something. You'll tell me, all right, well, let's break your calories and proteins down this way so you can still get everything and you can still enjoy, you know. So I think that's also how it gets integrated into your life, is that we just communicate with you and tell you, you know, I'm looking at this for this week or whatever, and this workout needs to change or whatever, and it's within a couple minutes you changed it, and you know, we're on our way.
Totally. And after being through it, you know, throughout the last 12 weeks, and we're going to be doing some stuff in the future as well, like, what advice would you maybe to give somebody who's in a similar position as you, who was struggling with maybe their confidence, with their health, the way that they look? Like, what advice would you give that person who was on the fence, you know, about maybe signing up?
Get off the fence. And just do it, you know. It's an investment.
Yeah.
It's an investment in yourself. It's an investment in your future. You know what I mean? We are all looking nowadays at a return on investment for everything.
Yeah.
You know, your car, your education, your carpet, your whatever. You know, I want to know that if I'm investing in you, investing in myself, that I'm going to get the return, and I have. You know, and I think that your clients can all say that they've all seen that return on investment. So, you know, you can do your research or whatever, but it's proven. You know what I mean? Riley knows what he's doing. Riley knows how to incorporate into your life. Riley knows how to communicate and things like that. So, you know, I think it's to take the leap, take the step. You know, sometimes, you know, they always say, take the trip. You know, take the trip. Well, take the risk on yourself. You know, and I think that's the big thing, is just taking that risk on yourself. It's time, like, what's stopping you?
Absolutely, and especially, it's easy to take a risk when it's like, you do this, you get this.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
right.
It's like an equation. A lot of times, like, you know, with risk, it's like, oh, maybe. But a lot of times, it's like, you do this, the calories are this way, you put your body under these conditions, it will adapt. You know what I mean? I think that's the beauty of fitness. It's input output. You know, it's a system.
Yeah, and I think also, like, tracking everything, like having, you know, my fitness app be like, your trends are changing.
Yeah,
like, what's happening here?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they're like, you've had the best month of your life, or whatever they'll say. But like, getting those kind of notifications, or getting that kind of confidence or boosts or whatever, it can be, you know what I mean? It's just like that one little, you know, like jolt of energy that you needed. But again, like, it's easy, it's there, it's seamless.
Absolutely, and it builds the momentum.
Yeah.
Right? So let's talk about so right now we went from, what was our start weight?
227 was where I was at, like, week 2.
We started at 227, and what was our most recent weight? We were at our lowest weight recently.
207, 206 was where I was at this morning.
So we lost 20 pounds, and we took 5 inches off our waistline. And for those maybe who don't know, if you take 5 pounds off of fat off your body, it's about 1 inch off your waist. But you're like, oh, why is it not 25 pounds? It's because if you build muscle too, the weight might not change, but if the waistline has also changed, it means you lost 25 pounds of fat and you built, you know, some muscle. So that's kind of where we've been. Moving forward, I know, walk everyone through, what are our goals moving forward now that we've lost a large percentage of our body fat, and we're going to keep the progress going.
Yeah, and I think I continue want to lose weight. You know, I still feel that there's weight, fat.
Yeah.
I should say that. There's fat that I want to get rid of.
Yeah.
You know, so continue on that fat loss, continue with that, building up some muscle. Like, I can start to feel a little changes in muscle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we've talked, I've never wanted to be like, I'm not going to be a huge muscle person. That's just not who I am. It's not happening.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I want to be able to feel confident and be able to, like, you know, physically do things. You know, my dad is 70 and he's still able to do a lot of stuff. I want to be able to be 70 and still be able to go out and open my pool and close my pool and shovel rock and do whatever. So, you know, you want to keep going with that and keep kind of going through that, but continue to lose weight, continue to build muscle. Again, you know, I've got it in my lifestyle now. It's you know what it is, and you know, I think I'm going to be going on vacation, and the thing is like, man, I'm not going to go to the gym this week.
Yeah.
I'm going to have trouble going to the gym or whatever, and people are like, oh, it's vacation, and I'm like, yeah, it is vacation, but I still want to have structure, still want to maintain, but like we said, it's incorporated in your life, so I can still look at my calories, still eat what I want, still have a few drinks.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that makes it helpful. But like, again, lose some weight, some more muscle, and continue with that confidence. You know how things go. Like I said, I can feel it in my arms, in my chest, in areas like that makes me want to just get better.
I love it, and it's been awesome so far. And then we set a goal, you hit the goal, we set a new goal, you hit the goal, and that's like with everything, right? And that's the biggest thing for me is I just want to get my guys to a point where they feel way better than they did, but get to a point where it's like, I look great, I feel great, I want to just maintain this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's where I want to get. You know, I'm not going to keep going and keep going.
Yeah.
You know, I want to get, my goal was like, by 2026, you know, be comfortable to a time to where it's just maintaining.
Yeah.
You know, it's going to the gym when you need, you know, you're 3 days a week or 2 days a week, and continuing with walking and things like that. there's nothing, sometimes I come home and there isn't anything else going on. So I'm like, what's stopping me from walking, or what's stopping me from getting up and doing something? So I think it's just incorporating it and then just making it, you do have to have that commitment a little, you know what I mean? You do have to commit to it. It's again, that return on investment, what you're doing, get that commitment and just keep going with it. And then you really will. I mean, like, I do confidently believe that I will continue with this, even, once we're done with the program and things like that. And who knows, maybe I'll, I don't want to be that comeback or, do that kind of wishy-washy, kind of weight back and forth. So I want to be able to maintain it. And I think that's part of your program, and the nice thing about your program is that it does incorporate into your lifestyle.
Completely, right? And it's usually like, daily step count, the core four. It's right. It's like protein, calories, steps, and then 2 workouts a week, 3 workouts a week. 2 workouts a week if you want to maintain, or you're trying to lose weight, or 3 workouts a week if you want to have a little bit of muscle growth, right?
Yeah.
And it's like simple, easy, done, and the goal is to do it forever. So the amount of things we can do every day forever, not that many things.
Yeah, and we're not spending hours at the gym.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I get my workouts in from what you've set, 45 minutes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which isn't, to me, I don't think is a ton of time.
A couple days.
I'm there 3 days a week right now, in 45 minutes. It's like, all right, well, it's like a TV show. You know what I mean? Like, it's like you sitting down watching an episode of, whatever's out there nowadays.
Yeah.
But
is it either Golden Girls for you?
it's a Golden Girl for me, 100%. I got it there.
So funny.
But it is, it's just easy instead of watching that show at home, watch it show at Planet Fitness on your phone while you're walking. You know what I mean? Or listen to a podcast while you're working out. You know what I mean? Incorporate it into your life already. 100%.
And you can see here, go from somebody who was not in a great position with their fitness to now sitting here giving you tips on fitness. Right? And it's
Who
like,
knew?
it's 100%. And it's just about that lifestyle change every day. You start, you set the goal, it becomes into your lifestyle, and now you're just a healthy, fit person for life. And not only do you enjoy your life more, you actually live longer.
Yeah. Right. And that's where it's at, you know what I mean? Like that, just longevity, feeling better, and it just continues to grow.
Well, it's been awesome. Andrew's been a 5-star client. He's out 5-star, he's been a 5-star client, and he's crushed it. We're going to keep crushing it. I hope this is super valuable for everyone watching, and it's been Andrew Lewis, and thanks for watching. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.